Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a blueprint designed specifically for high achievers. The people who feel like that nagging sense of anxiety is starting to sabotage their own ambition. We're going to explore how you can build a real, unshakable sense of calm, not by running away from pressure, but by learning how to master it from the inside out. So let's start with a really core idea here. Calm is not some prize you win at the end of a long, hard journey. It's actually a skill. It's something you build moment by moment, every single day. The real goal isn't to create a life with zero pressure. I mean, let's be real, that's not going to happen. The goal is to have the tools you need to protect your own inner peace, especially when things get crazy. I mean, that feeling, it's all too familiar, right? This is what we call the high achievers paradox. The very same drive that pushes you to succeed is also the thing that's feeding your anxiety, and it can trap you in this vicious cycle that undermines the very goals you're working so hard to achieve. But what if we just completely reframed how we think about anxiety? What if instead of seeing it as this enemy we have to fight, we saw it as a signal, just a message from our body and our mind? This explainer is going to give you the blueprint to do just that, to treat anxiety not as some kind of character flaw, but as a system you can actually understand, work with, and, ultimately manage. So let's get into it. Okay, first up, we've got to understand where this stuff actually comes from. To solve the problem, you have to deconstruct it. We're going to look at anxiety's 3 hidden roots. The source material uses this just brilliant metaphor of a tree. See, most of the time, we're focused on the leaves, the symptoms of anxiety, the racing heart, the worried thoughts. But to make any real, lasting change, you have to dig down and understand the complex root system that's hidden way down below the surface. And it's not just one thing. It's an interconnected system of 3 core roots. First, you've got the biological root, that's your body's ancient survival hardware. Second, the psychological root, your own unique thought patterns. And third, the environmental one, which is all about the crazy pressures of modern life. Now, this biological root is absolutely fascinating. Deep inside your brain, you've got this little thing called the amygdala. And it's basically your ancient security system. But here's the catch. It literally cannot tell the difference between a charging tiger and an urgent email from your boss. Wild, right? It triggers the exact same intense hormonal response: fight, flight, or freeze. And that really explains why a modern digital problem can feel so primal and so completely overwhelming. Okay, now let's add your unique psychology to that mix. The thought patterns you've learned from past experiences, maybe a fear of public speaking that started with one embarrassing moment when you were a kid. Then you layer on top of that the environmental stress of our always-on, constantly connected world, and boom, you have the absolute perfect storm for chronic anxiety. So that's the problem. But now we get to the really empowering part. Your brain isn't fixed hardware. You can actually be its architect. In this section, we're going to look at the tools you can use to start rewiring your own mind. This is all possible because of something called neuroplasticity. And this is a total game changer. It's your brain's incredible ability to rewire itself. Every single time you consciously challenge an anxious thought or you choose a different, calmer response, you are physically strengthening new neural pathways. You're not just thinking differently, you are literally changing your brain. So, to rewire the mind, we first have to see the trap. Anxiety loves to create this vicious, self-reinforcing cycle. It starts with a thought, right? That thought triggers an emotion, which causes a physical reaction. Then that reaction leads to a behavior, like avoiding a task, which then seems to prove that your original anxious thought was right all along. You see? It's a closed loop that just feeds itself. So the big question is, how do you break out of that cycle? Well, this guide offers a simple but incredibly powerful 4-step tool. It's called the ABCD method, and it's basically a structured way to interrupt that automatic spiral and take back control. Let's walk through how it works. Okay, so A, the activating event, is an unexpected meeting request. Your automatic B, belief, is, oh no, I'm about to get fired. The C, consequence, is panic, your heart's racing. But then, and this is the most important part, comes D, disputation. You actively challenge that belief with cold, hard evidence. Wait a minute, my last project was a huge success. The meeting could be about anything. You're systematically using logic to dismantle the fear. So rewiring your mind, that's the internal work. Next up, let's talk about building your external toolkit for calm. Think of it as building a fortress to protect yourself from a demanding world. And your absolute first line of defense here is your personal boundary system. Now, let's be really clear about this. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are the essential framework that protects your well-being. We're talking about your time, your emotions, and yeah, even your digital space. I love this metaphor that the guide uses. Healthy boundaries are like a fence with a gate. You are in control of who and what you let in. Unhealthy boundaries, on the other hand, are either a solid wall that just leads to isolation or no fence at all, which is a fast track straight to burnout. The goal is that fence with a gate. You're in control. And this whole idea of boundaries, it extends to your environment too. Creating a stress-resistant space is a huge power move. Simple things, right? Like turning off notifications on your phone or just decluttering your desk. These aren't just about being tidy. They are conscious decisions about what you will and will not allow to claim your attention. Okay, so we've got the internal rewiring and we've got the external defenses. In our final section, let's put it all together. How do we build a sustainable system for actually living in a state of calm? See, true, lasting calm is not something that just magically happens to you. It is definitely not an accident. It comes from intentionally weaving these practices into your daily life until they become second nature. It's about creating a personal operating system that defaults to balance instead of stress. And this personal OS, it has 4 key components. You've got your rewired mind, ready to challenge anxious thoughts. You've got your strong boundaries to protect your precious energy. You have proven techniques for when stress hits in the moment. And crucially, you have the daily rituals that make it all stick. The source material suggests starting with 3 super simple, non-negotiable daily rituals to just get the momentum going. A 5-minute mental check-in every morning, just to see where your head's at, a brief midday reset to break the stress cycle, and a quick evening review to learn from the day's triggers. These tiny little habits create absolutely massive change over time. So, if there's one key takeaway from this entire blueprint, it's this. You have the power to be the architect of a calmer life. And the journey doesn't start with some massive, overwhelming leap. It starts with one small, intentional step. So I'm going to leave you with this question. What is one boundary you can set today to start building your own fortress of calm?